Today we're actually going to try a new technique. We are going to make a clothespin wreath. Let me show you some of the materials that we'll be using, and of course there will be a full materials list for you below in the description of this video. So I grabbed this Be Thankful decorative fall sign from the Dollar Tree. I also grabbed a 14-inch wire wreath frame, also from the Dollar Tree. And I expect that we'll use between 150 to 180 clothespins. And I originally had some in my cart at the Dollar Tree, but then did a quick check and discovered that they're actually cheaper at Walmart. So I grabbed 2 packs of 100. I think each pack was less than $3 at Walmart, and they're just standard size wooden clothespins. And then I grabbed a variety of acrylic paint and small paint brushes so that we can paint some of our clothespins, and of course the paint matches our sign. I have never made a clothespin wreath, friends, so we're going to learn this together. The first thing we need to do is get our clothespins painted, so I'm going to set that wreath frame and sign off to the side and grab my painting materials. I'll be right back. All right, I've got my clothespins partially unpackaged. I'm going to go ahead and paint about 165, and we'll see how far that takes us. I've just grabbed a piece of cardboard to protect my work area from paint in case I get sloppy. And I've grabbed a couple of pretty thin paint brushes. As you can see, that's a really fine, thin angle cut brush. It's actually of 1/4 of an inch angle. I feel like that's going to be a pretty good width to get our clothespins painted. And so taking a look at this sign, I want my paint colors, of course, to be complementary to the sign. So I'm going to do some natural colored. I'm not going to paint them at all. I'm going to do some black, some white, and some dark brown. So let's dive in and start painting. I don't think it's going to take much paint at all. And honestly, I'm just going to paint one side of these clothespins. I don't think we need to get too picky and paint both sides. So I'm literally just going to paint the front facing sides of these clothespins. I'm actually using some home decor chalk paint. Of course, I've also got a glass of water here to rinse out my brushes. So let's get busy painting. All right, everyone, so I've given my clothespins about an hour to dry. I just used, like I said, that wax acrylic paint, so it dried really quickly. And I've got 48 that I've painted white, 48 that I've painted black, 24 that I have in the dark brown, and then I've got 48 that I just left plain or in their natural state. I feel like those 3 things will go together well and really kind of give us that country farmhouse vibe, which is what I'm going for. So I'm going to set my clothespins off to the side, stacking them color on color. If you've not already done so, go ahead and plug in your hot glue gun, and we're going to start loading our clothespins onto our 14-inch wire frame. So just a little wreath 101 for you. This is a 14-inch standard wire wreath frame from the Dollar Tree, and they come just as you see them here. They're probably elevated about 1 inch or so, and there are 4 rings, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 6 crossbars, and then the distance between one crossbar and the other is what we consider a section. And we're going to add 2 layers of our clothespins, and you can certainly add these in any way that you wish. I am not 100% certain how many we'll be using. I think that we're going to have plenty here, and I'm really just going to alternate back and forth using the chocolate brown the least. And we're actually going to be adding our clothespins in on the back side. I know that's contrary to how we typically build a wreath on the wreath frame with a beveled side intended to be the top. For this particular wreath, you're going to flip that guy over and you're going to let that concave side actually be the front facing part of your wreath. And so you're just going to add your clothespin right onto the wire wreath frame. And as you can see, the wire parts of our frame on rings 1 fits into notch 1 perfectly, and ring 2 fits into notch 2 perfectly. And so we aren't going to have to glue layer 1. And I'm just going to go randomly adding in clothespins. So let's speed through our first section. We'll take a look at what it looks like. We're just going to add them in side by side, filling up our entire section. All right, I've just completed the first section, so we've got 5 more sections to go. So let's speed ahead through this part, and we're going to add our clothespins all the way around rings 1 and 2 around the entire wreath frame, and I'll meet you back here. All right, I've got the first layer of my clothespins in. I think it's looking super cute. And so now what we're going to do is basically follow our same pattern, which, by the way, if you can tell here, basically my pattern was black, white, natural, black, white, brown, black, white, natural, black, white, brown. And I've just followed that pattern all the way around the entire outer portion of the wire wreath frame. Now I need to add our second layer into our wreath. And I'm going to follow the exact same color scheme, or color pattern, I should say. However, I'm just going to make sure that I'm not going to start the same color underneath the same color, because I really want that variated look. So for instance, if I start here, I'm just going to make sure that it's not black on black. Instead, I'll have black on brown or black on white. I just don't want same color on top of same color. And for the inner layer, we're going to add our clothespin just on the innermost ring, and they're going to be floppy, but we're going to fix that in just a little bit. So when you add this in, make sure that you're getting that right within that largest groove of your clothespin. It's okay that it's floppy. We're going to fix that, and add your clothespins all the way around until you filled your entire wreath. All right, I have finished loading this wreath with my painted clothespins, and if you're going to recreate this, I will let you know that I used exactly 150 standard size wooden clothespins on this 14-inch frame, and I think it is turning out super cute. I really love the black, white, natural, and brown colors, and I'm glad I didn't throw in the orange as I had originally intended to do. So let's move on to the next step. Go ahead and grab your glue gun and glue sticks, and basically what we're going to do at this point is attach the inner ring to the outer ring, because remember, we just clip them onto one single ring, so they're floppy. So we basically need to add a pea-size amount of glue to the back of every single clothespin on this inner layer to secure it to the outer layer. So just working with a few of your clothespins at a time, just add a pea-size amount of glue to the back and just give it a good solid push. We're going to do this to every single clothespin on this lower level, guys, so we can make sure we've got a great attachment. So go ahead and take a few minutes and add your little dollops of glue to those lower level clothespins and get them secured down, and I'll meet you back here. All right, I've got all of these guys glued down, and look how stinking cute this is turning out. So the next step we need to be doing is to attach our sign down into our wreath. You can go ahead and cut off this tine hanger. We don't need that. And I'm not super happy with this plastic raffia looking bow, so I'm literally gonna pop that guy right off there. And it's okay if it pulls off a little bit of that paper. We are going to actually add a bow to our sign. And so we're going to just glue this guy right down in the center. There's no top or bottom to the clothespin base, so no worries where you put it. You could also glue it down to the side if you would like, but then you would need to wire tie it. So what we're going to do is flip our sign over and run a generous ring of glue around the outer perimeter of both sides. I don't want you to do the top or the bottom because it won't quite reach our clothespins. So making sure you have that guy centered, just go ahead and glue it right down and give it a good 30-second push or so to really give that time to attach securely. All right, I'm going to push this off to the side so that we can work on a bow. You can add your bow anywhere you would like on your wreath. I'm actually going to add mine right to the top where that plastic raffia bow was that we popped off. And because of that, I don't want my tails to be terribly long because I don't want them to interfere with the words on our sign. So we'll be making some shorter tails. And the ribbon I'm going to use will be the 1.5 inch black glitter, the 1.5 inch orange and tan leaf, possibly the solid orange, and also a little bit of this 2-inch woven AC ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So to save time on our video, I'm going to go ahead and zoom through this bow making process pretty quickly. If you need additional instruction and help with making your bow, I will leave a link for you below in the description of this video so that you can reference that if you need to. All right, so there's just the dainty bow that I made. I've got 2 loops and 2 tails of the black, 2 loops and 2 tails of the leaf pattern, and 2 loops and 2 tails of the orange, and then just a solid piece of this cute crocheted ribbon in the back. I did dovetail all of my ends. However, I've learned with this crocheted ribbon from the Dollar Tree, you just need to leave those ends straight or they will come undone. This is actually a pretty heavy wreath. I'm going to use a floral wire stem. This is a heavy gauge 18-inch length floral wire stem to secure this bow down because I'm going to wrap it around the stem of the pumpkin sign and one of the wires of our wreath. So I've just folded this stem in half, basically to find that center point there at the V. Making sure my loops and tails are all going the right direction, I'm going to wrap this guy right around my bow and give it a twist or two, and then grab my needle nose pliers to really make sure that's nice and tight. And then I'm going to actually run this wire through the hole that was made on the pumpkin sign, and then also on the outside. And then I'll pinch those ends together a couple more times and put them back into our wreath so that they don't poke us or our customer's door. And then I'll just add a tiny drop of hot glue right on top of those wires to ensure that no sharp edges are found by our hands or our door. And we'll give that about 30 seconds to dry. And that is it, friends. I'm just going to take a black pipe cleaner and double it up. I'll wrap that around one of the back wires so that I can hang this from the front door, and this beauty is finished. Thank you for spending time creating with me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel to grow. Happy crafting!